Hey, welcome back to a new video. Now, this idea came to me this morning as I was commuting to work. I thought, you know what? It's been a couple of years since I've done this, and I've been wanting to do this for quite some time because a lot has changed since I made this type of video about 2 years ago. So let's get into it. So this video is, of course, a what's in my camera bag video, but a lot has changed, as I said, and it's a surprise because 2 years ago when I made this first video, I never expected that I would be saying what I'm going to be saying now. And the biggest thing that has changed out of all the stuff, out of all the camera gear I use, is the addition of the prime lenses. Now, if you ever watch my video from the initial couple of years ago, then you would have noticed that I only had zooms. No, that's a lie. I had one prime, but I never used it. I didn't like primes. I found it annoying that you had to sort of walk in and out. And since then, I've really come to appreciate them. And the biggest one, the biggest change to my camera bag out of all of the lenses that I've got is this. It is the 85mm f1.4 Sigma lens. Now, this lens is the biggest surprise purely because it's not just portrait lens. Yes, of course, 85mm is the perfect focal length for portraits, and I have taken many a beautiful portrait on this lens, but the real crux of this is that it's actually not too bad at landscapes. The perspective it gives for landscape photography is really quite nice, and you can do a surprising amount with it. And just having that f1.4 really does allow you to broaden your horizons or constrict, whichever you want to look at, because it is 85mm, quite differently than you would normally get with a standard zoom lens. Now, out of all the pictures I have taken on this lens when it comes to landscape photography, these ones are probably my favorite. And I'm sure if you are aware already of this lens, it does have a lovely little aperture ring just here that clicks, or there is a little switch here that you can lock in to make it fully automatic. But overall, it has got some excellent glass, and I really do love using this thing. I use it a hell of a lot more than I probably normally would. That's the first one. Who'd have thought? Someone who loves zoom so much went to primes. Now, the second lens I want to talk about, well, I'm not going to really talk about it too much because I have a really good review over it just here, and that is the Tamron 28-200. Now, I've kind of submitted to this lens because it is such an excellent all-round landscape photography lens. Now, you're not going to get hugely, amazingly wild, beautiful cinematic shots at 200mm, but for the most part, it does a pretty damn good job, and is at the point where I'm not going to replace it, and I don't think I ever will. Like, I keep saying that, and I think it is good to keep saying it because I keep reiterating it. I don't feel I have any need for a 70-200 f2.8. Yeah, it'd be nice, but really the compactness of this and allowing you to bring one lens for all your travels really does make this so much more worthwhile and valuable to me than a 70-200. Now, I probably should have started with this because this is the main subject, but we're going to be dropping it right in the middle, and the body that I use all the time is the Sony a7 IV. Now, since this camera has come out, we have had a lot of really lovely new release lenses and camera bodies, but the reality is, and I think this is a really important takeaway, so if anything that I say comes out of this video for you, take this with you. Get the camera that fits your budget and your needs, and don't get anything more. Because really, the reality is that even if you're shooting on a 12 megapixel camera or a 100 megapixel camera, if the 12 megapixels suits your needs, get that. There's no point spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on camera gear and lenses just to end up being hugely in debt. It's not worth it. So whatever suits your needs the most, focus on that. Now, the a7 IV, as I've mentioned in a fair few of my videos, a fair few of you found me in my videos about this body, is that it has got everything that I personally need. It's got a 33 megapixel sensor. It's got a little shutter curtain. It's got a nice little dial just here to do all your picture and video. It's fantastic in that respect. And on top of that, the color rendition for this body is fantastic. Now, paired on this, I do have the 28-75 Tamron lens. Now, whilst I have made a review of this lens, I'm not going to get back into that review. The thing that has really surprised me about this lens and just effectively finding new ways to use it is its macro capabilities. I have been able to transfer the skills of taking macro photography into using this lens. So much so that for the most part, it does everything I need. I'm able to take really nice, detailed close-up shots of subjects, wherever they might be, humans or plant matter, fungi, that type of thing. And it really has got quite a versatile range. And on top of that, the sharpness and the contrast, like the glass overall, it really is a fantastic lens. Now, would I upgrade to the 24-70 Sony or the 24-70 Sigma? No, I wouldn't, because this is light enough, it is powerful enough, it is everything enough that I really need. Now, I have recommended this before and I do recommend this again. If you only need one lens, you don't need a super zoom, that Tamron 28-75 really is a fantastic lens to consider. If you do have any questions about any of these lenses or bodies or anything related to the gear I'm talking about, then do feel free to drop it down below in the comment section. I will get back to you. And whilst you're there, do make sure to whack that like button for me because it's a massive help. Now, drones. Drones are a big one. The last time I made this video, I did have an Air 2S and I said, well, I probably said, I'm never going to sell it. I probably said I loved it, which I did. It was a fantastic drone and in many respects I do miss it, but when the Mini 3 Pro came out, this sort of took the cake for me, or whatever that saying is. It kind of, you know, stole the cake, ate the cake, I don't know, something to do with cake. That's what this drone did. Now, when I lost my original Mavic Mini into the ocean, I always remember saying to myself, if that Mini had a better camera and it had forward and backward sensors, not that I use them anymore, but if it did have that, then I would buy that over getting a bigger drone. And then a year after buying the Air 2S, this little bad boy came out. And once this came out, I had no real use or need for the Air 2S. So I sadly sold it on, but I'm sure someone out there, whoever bought it, is really enjoying it and getting all that they can out of it. Air 2S, fantastic drone, but if you're like me and you like traveling light, packing light, and shooting light, this Mini 3 Pro really does have everything that you need. Now, would I upgrade this to the Mini 4 Pro? No, I wouldn't. It's got a couple of little extra AI things. The sensor and the camera is exactly the same, and the only real difference is it's got omnidirectional sensors, but I don't use the sensors anymore, so I don't even need that. This has got a D-Log mode, kind of, like you can shoot a flat color profile with this drone, but again, I don't really do that because it's another thing that you need to do, and if anything, drones sort of set up the video, they sort of set up the scene kind of thing, so that's what this drone kind of does. Now, a thing that I should mention is when I bought this, I just bought this as the drone and the controller. This controller, actually, the standard screen one, and I thought, you know what, I'll see how I go with this because they did claim the battery life was excellent, and then if I do need extra batteries, I will get the Fly More kit. Spoiler alert, it's been well over a year and I've never needed that Fly More kit. This one battery does more than enough. Now, if you're out flying all day, sure, maybe you might need the extra batteries, but if you're really just using this to set up the shots or take those extra nice little cool aerial perspectives, this drone with the one standard battery, not the Fly More battery or the big battery, whatever it's called, is absolutely fine. Remember, only buy what your budget allows and what you really need. Do you really need the 3 extra batteries? Are you going to use them? In my circumstance, I didn't need them. I wanted them, sure, but the reality is I would never have used them. So it made sense just to try out this as it was initially. Now, lastly, something that you probably didn't expect me to talk about, but I'm going to be talking about because I am filming on this body, so it will get a mention, is the Sony a6400 and the Tamron 17-70 f2.8. Now, I started on that setup with the a6400 in this, and I loved it. And so much so that I've still got it. I'm still filming on the a6400. I am using the Sony 20mm f1.8 prime, which I will get to after this, but the reality is this is too good to sell, and I'm not really going to get that much for it, so I may as well keep it as a B camera. This combination, especially if you're starting out, is fantastic. You will be able to shoot some fantastic portraits, you'll be able to shoot some great video, and this is a stabilized lens, so you will get that much more bang for your buck with this lens and the body setup. The battery is absolutely fine. For example, I started filming this video when the battery on the camera was 35% battery. Now I'm on 15% battery and I've been filming for about 12 minutes. So that's pretty damn good for a battery that's been sitting in the camera for a couple of weeks, not really being used. Fantastic, fantastic combo before we finally finish up on the last item on the menu. Now the one that I want to talk about, I can't actually show you because it's here. Like, this is the lens I want to talk about, but I can't hold it because you're watching me through it, is the Sony f1.8 20mm G lens. Another lens I never expected to buy. I always thought I'd buy a 16 to 35 or something of that ilk. But when I really looked at this lens and thought, you know what, do I want this beautiful out of focus blur of f1.8 in a 20mm lens? I thought, yes I do. And honestly, this lens is my favorite lens I've got in my kit. I use it for all my talking head shots, especially here in the office, because it has got that beautiful blur in the background that you can see. And on top of that, I use this to shoot all my astrophotography. Yes, it's not a 16mm, so it's a little bit more punched in, but what I'm able to capture with this f1.8 compared to an f2.8 or something similar to that is nothing short of spectacular. I'm able to shoot so much lower ISOs with this lens with astrophotography, and on top of that, the picture is so much sharper and so much clearer. And overall, like, it's just, as you can see, you've been watching me on this video. I'm not going to do any color grading for this video because it is just coming out looking as it does. It looks absolutely fantastic, and it is something that I can recommend again and again and again. As you can see, all my lenses there are third-party lenses. They're not Sony lenses. This is the only Sony lens I really have, the only, good quality Sony lens, and I absolutely love it. I can vouch for it 100-fold. It's fantastic. So that's it, really. That's it. That's the end of the show. I could tell you about my camera bag, but it is in that video up there that I did speak about. It's still the same bag. It's absolutely fine. I still use it all the time. I love it. It's a little bit heavy, but at the end of the day, it's fine. And it holds all the gear that I need and more. And you can take it on international flights and everything just fits in the luggage rack and all that fun stuff. It's a great bag. All right, we've come to the end. I wanted to do this video, I wanted to sit down with you and just have a chat and just hang out and sort of just get back into, the YouTube fun, the YouTube game, and making the YouTube videos and all that fun stuff, because this video has been overdue. And I hope you've enjoyed it, really. I hope you've enjoyed it, because it has been quite fun just hanging out with you. Anyway, if you have already subscribed, I very much appreciate it. You know who you are. If you haven't and you would like to see more videos like this and get to see what all the crazy stuff I've got planned for this year, then do make sure that you do subscribe like everyone else. And then, and only then, will I see you in the next video. All right. I'll speak to you soon. I know I will. See you later.